Hello guys, it's the Caribbean Bookworm, and today I'll be giving you guys a book review for The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks, written by Rebecca Skloot. The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks is a biography written by the author-journalist Rebecca Skloot, and it is about this African-American woman who lived in the early or in the first half of the 20th century called Henrietta Lacks. She grew up in a big family and had quite a normal social life when she was in her teenage years to her mid-early 20s, until her life changed unfortunately for the worse when she got a diagnosis that would change her fate forever. In the early 1951, young Henrietta Lacks has been diagnosed with cervical cancer. She underwent treatment and surgery, but eventually the battle with cancer had been lost and she passed away. It turned out that there was a lot more to the story of Henrietta Lacks as time went on. After Henrietta's surgery, the doctors collected a sample of the tumor tissues from her cervix. Something quite fascinating came out of this, and that is that the cell line of which they've cultured from Henrietta was endlessly divided, in essence, an immortal cell line. But the problem with this amazing discovery is that it has been done without the patient's knowledge and consent. The knowledge of that has only been discovered by the family a few years down the road. And this, of course, became an ethical conundrum. Now, I've read my fair share of popular science books, and this one by far is one of the most personal ones I've read because it's not just a popular science book, it's a biography in essence. And that made this book quite interesting, quite engaging, and quite fascinating. The only reason I took so long to finish this book is because I've had a lot of other things to do outside of just reading, so that took some time. But I'm glad I finished the book because it had quite a lot of information regarding the history with HeLa cells, of which I didn't even know about before I came to know about this book. And it also had a really nice personal touch near the last part of the book. During the whole book, actually, but especially near that last part of the book. Now, my pros with this book is, of course, number one, that this book encompasses a very engaging story narrative. The book reads almost like a novel, and even when the author is describing the science behind what is happening, she describes it in very common terms and in a way that everyone can understand, basically. And for a book like this, I think that is actually essential because it is really important to see why the contribution of these cell lines made such a big impact in the scientific community. It also removes the abstract layer and jargons from the science, which can get quite really complicated. Two, the author tackles some very important questions regarding consent within the medical practice. The topic of consent within medicine is something that is still quite relevant within our day-to-day life. It is still the case that things are being done without the knowledge of the patient, and that is quite an issue. Something that I think that this book highlights in that regard is the need of better communication, the need of informing people better on what certain things entail, the need to inform people on the science of what's happening within a certain procedure they want to take, and just giving people a better sense of general knowledge regarding these certain things. Because the family of Henrietta Lacks, for example, never knew even why they took the tissue from Henrietta, up to the point of what they're doing with that tissue and why they are so relevant for research. So all in all, as you can see, I found this book quite fascinating, and I quite honestly can't think of any cons to mention for this book because I just really enjoyed it. I didn't give it a 5 out of 5 on Goodreads. I don't know why, but it technically this deserves a 5 out of 5 on Goodreads because it's just a great, amazing book. I highly recommend it to anyone who's interested in medical ethics, someone who's interested in the repression of the African American culture, and someone who may be interested within the HeLa cell lines themselves and the person behind the cell lines. I highly, highly recommend you read this book. So that's it for my book reviews, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and see you guys within the next review. Bye.